Check. Morning all. Check, check, check. Here we go. Another live. Let me close the window. Here we are, morning all. It's early here in the UK. Fucking early, man. It's not early, it's 9 AM. Not too early. Hey bro, how's it going, man? Hope to get an interview here with Henri. Another cool dude on the way. There you are, bro. Found you. Okay, let's roll. Henri, let's do this. Connection inbound. Okay, that should work. Let's have a look, let's have a look. Shit, man. Yeah.
Hey, man.
Henri, bro. Hello, morning. Or evening, should I say, to you.
Yeah. Yeah, for me it's, this must be a little early for you.
Yeah, it's early. It's all good, though. Well, not that early, man. 9 o'clock's not early. But yeah, evening over there. So you're in, I'm trying to remember now. It's not Thailand. Borneo? I've forgotten again.
No, man, I'm in Bali.
Bali, okay. Bro, whereabouts in Bali are you? There's that famous place where all of the entrepreneurs and... Are you in the famous place?
Yeah.
All right. Oh, cool.
I'm in Ubud. So that you've got two famous places, I guess. You've got Canggu, which is... And you've got Ubud, which is where you've got the yoga and the meditation, people that are okay, talking about urine, like, you know, like kind of the more community here. And it's really beautiful what's happened here now. Because I've been living in Ubud since the lockdown. Because I chose to be here just as I realized everything was starting to close down. And what's happened here now that no one can really move, and there's like a community of people that all know kind of that we're staying, and it's a conscious community of people that all know we're staying, everyone knows each other. It's really something I've never experienced. Like, I've lived, like over the last 10, 12 years, I've lived a lot of places, and I've never experienced living in a place like this, like especially during this time, you know, it's really quite amazing. So yeah.
That's cool, man. That's cool. Yeah, Ubad's the one I was thinking. I've got Ron Amira, there's another guy I know there that's he's quite cool. So yeah, there's loads of cool people where you're living. That's awesome, man. The high vibe life. And like you said, you got stuck there.
Say his name? Maybe I know him.
His name's Ron Amira, I think. That's his real name. I think on Facebook he goes by something else now, but he was Ron Amira. If not, I'll hook you up with him, man, because he's cool. You'll like him. I'm
sure I know his face. Like, you know everyone here now. Unless he's in Canggu, maybe, but if he's in Ubud, then I'm sure I know him. But
sure you do. He's big into music. He plays a lot of instruments, and everyone's cool there, man. So that's exciting. Getting stuck in paradise is not really getting stuck at all. It's like a godsend. It's like divinity, you know? That's a good thing.
Yeah, man. And you're in whereabouts in England are you?
So I'm Northeast Hampshire at the moment, bro, and I'm stuck here. Well, kind of stuck because I'd like to go out and travel, to be honest with you, in America, Portugal, back to, but yeah, I'm kind of stuck too, like everyone else. But it's okay because we work where we're at, and life is good, man.
Yeah.
Life is good. I enjoy it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, there's always
at the beginning, man. Henri, you like
something beautiful you can find.
Yeah, bro. Let's go back to the beginning with you. Like, where did it all start for you, man? Why did you end up in this kind of lifestyle that you live now? Like, because it looks like a wicked lifestyle, but where did it all start, man?
Huge loss, I guess. It's a good question. Yeah, I first came to Bali. I'm a poker player. That's my profession. So I travel around and I play poker from the laptop, and I've lived around in a lot of different places. I lived in Colombia, blah, blah, blah. And I spent a lot of my life over the last 10, 12 years just kind of pursuing pleasure, you know, pursuing money, pursuing women, pursuing peak experiences. And then a couple of years ago, a couple of instances all hit me at the same time. I ended up losing a bunch of money in playing some really high stakes poker in China. I lost a bunch of money playing Bitcoin at the same time. My mom had some big health issues. I ended a really challenging relationship that I had in Colombia. Lost my 4 dogs that I was adopted because I just needed to leave the country. Anyway, all this stuff happened, and like my life was like really, really great for a long time. And then suddenly that hit me, and I was just like, okay, I need to come inwards. I need to come to a state of gratitude, to come to a place where I'm not continuously searching outside all the time. So breathwork was really my first journey and method that really, I don't know, opened myself up into, I guess, where I am now. I've been traveling and doing poker and stuff and all this other stuff for many years. That came from 18, but to be in a place where I am now, where I'm very minimalist now. I'm like drinking Urine every day. All I'm really caring about is health. I'm finding my happiness in meditation, whereas before it would be in MDMA and what girl I could, Colombian girl I could have sex with or whatever. So breathwork was really the start, and then that was really powerful. Only eating for 1 hour a day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wait, it kind of broke up a little bit. Did you say eating 1 hour a day you was doing? What's that, 1 meal a day thing?
Yeah.
The OMAD?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
It's
cool.
Amun Ra protocol. Maybe you've heard of Amun Ra, but he had a very strict protocol. I was on him strictly for a year because I was playing high stakes poker in China, and the nature of that was that sometimes I would have to play really, really long hours. And so to be really competitive in that field and to be like on point, I just stopped eating, and I'd only eat at the end of the day. And so like I really noticed that fasting would be like, wow, I feel better. I feel more happy. I feel more balanced, and my focus is really insane. That's what drove me into it. But then when I realized that calories don't really exist, like that whole, I don't know, I'm sure you're familiar with like that whole calorie idea that doesn't really make any sense. Like we're light beings, we're electric beings. And I understood urine therapy, and then I found Chris Manley, and now my intention is to become breatharian because I find like after reading Man's Higher Consciousness, one of the greatest books I've ever read, now I understand that that's man's greatest evolution. Man's greatest evolution now is less than more, right? So you just see like, you start to understand urine and why urine is so good, because it's just dredging out everything in your body, any obstruction, to allow the body to do what the miracles that the body can do. Because that's what I realized after a while. It's not the food, it's not the nutrition, it's not the supplements, it's not the hundreds of dollars I was spending, thousands of dollars I was spending on supplements. That's making me optimized. It's just me getting the fuck out of the way of my body. So
that's powerful. Okay, we're back. You can see me now? Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to move closer to the router. Maybe that will help us.
Yeah, man. So yeah, that's right what you said, you know, like I feel like obstructions Okay. So that works.
We're back.
So yeah, like You know, I feel like you're right, man. The obstructions is what stops us. The density of all the things that we're doing, we're putting into our body, whether that's food too much or whether it's just negativity and stress, man. It's like a lot of density around here. And to lighten ourselves up, man, is to be free. And I do resonate a lot with the Breatharianism, man. Like you said, it's one of the best books ever. There's many good books out there. One of the best, man. I agree. Man's Higher Consciousness really it wakes you up to what the possibilities of life is. I don't think it's a fake book. I think it's a real book about real, because they talk about 1,000, 2,000 years old people there that been hidden from us. I feel like it just resonates, you know, when you get it, man. Like you feel like this is real. This is not made up.
Yeah, exactly. Like you just feel it, you know it. Like it's an inner standing, which I really feel like me trusting in that over the last like 2 years. I started trusting in that rather than try to mind logically, like figure out everything, and just going towards what resonates for me, and then through my direct experience and understanding that. And that idea just felt like the bottom of the truth. I was always looking for the truth of like, what's the healthiest way for me to feel the best and have the highest energy. And, you know, like, then you meet Breatharians, you meet like Chris Manley, who I'm sure you've heard of. And then you're like, oh, okay, like this guy is the guy, you know, like, and there's actually something really interesting that you said. It's all about like consuming like lower density and everything, or consuming less. And so like I've been doing breath work for a long time, and I always thought like breath work was kind of like my path and the way, and it was also meditation and the way to like bring energy. But I realized I started meditating for like long periods of time, and I realized actually what happens when you meditate, and instead of doing like conscious breath work fast or even slow, but like having any idea or doing anything or consuming or processing any energy, as in coming outwards and expanding, which is like almost what we're constantly doing. Even if we're thinking, it's some kind of expansion outwards, and you just sit in meditation and you sit there for long enough and you kind of really just do as little as possible. Then you start the channels. Like I could feel this morning, like prana is my crown is like tingling.
Really? Wow.
So it's like really like direction all the way going to meditation being like the highest goal for us to really become like our full energetic powerful force is sitting and doing nothing. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's power, man. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so tingles, I love it when I get tingles sometimes in the third eye. Never had it in the crown chakra, because our body's so powerful, bro. Like the background with the chakras here, like we just never experience, like, I think we never experience 1% of our true potential most of the time. Like it's a joke how much we can experience, like telepathy, all that stuff's real, man. All of the powers that we used to have, and we're now, I believe, coming back to slowly but surely. And I don't even blame us. I don't even blame us for all these things that we've lost and de-evolution. I blame the culture, the matrix, and I also think it's deliberate, man. I don't think it's an accident that we've ended up in this de-evolved state, like of just naturally sinking low and low. It's been deliberate policy to keep us suppressed. What do you think of that, man? Do you think it's deliberate policy?
Yeah, good. I really like that question. So, this is something I've kind of found an idea of my theory with that, of that now, and it feels very refined and very clear for me. So, yeah, I agree. Like the majority of population, as a human race, the construct of society is designed to suppress our consciousness. I think that's quite clear. And so the idea that I have, and it's a little, well, it's not that wild, is that we were seeded, like our genetics were manipulated to so that we could only, for example, see a certain light bandwidth. You know, we can see 10% of all light, for example. Yeah. But I think really what's controlling us is that we've been seeded inside with parasites. And inside of us is parasites, and outside of us, you could say, and I would say, that those in power, so to speak, are parasitic. And the way that we are interacting with this planet is parasitic. We're not in balance. So it's all parasitic. So why I think that it's so difficult for humanity to behave in a different way, and why humanity is the qualities and values that are emphasized, which is greed and lust and pleasure and short-term satisfaction. The reason why that is because the system is set up to feed the parasites. So you go and walk down the street and you see a McDonald's sign and that's red. That's been programmed, that's been thought about to send a signal to the parasites that are in you that feed off the mucus that formulates from the foods that we eat, and but also the stressful lifestyle, the way life is set up for us to have acidic thoughts is overly sexual thoughts, or to have stress, you create acidity. Or when you eat almost anything, obviously fruit being the least dense of foods, but any of that stuff creates mucus, creates acid, and the mucus is where the parasites will then grow, and you're fucked. Like I have family members, and they're like, well, I'm just going to do this, and I explain all the logic to like why you don't need to do this, and like how just ways of making even the tiniest changes just to gain greater happiness in your life. And they're like, yeah, but then they're just like, there's no change. Why is that? It's because their consciousness controlled by a parasite, and everybody to some extent, like we all have parasites to some extent. So that's really like my passion now, to like get to the breatharian state. Not saying I'm never going to eat again, because I don't think there's anything wrong with having pleasure. Everyone can have their choice. Everyone has their freedom, but to be free from the food addiction, and by that means be free from the parasitic consciousness that's controlling us from inside and out, so that we can live in a breatharian utopia, long story short. Because when you're in that state, when you're in that frequency, when you're not eating, when all of these things, you don't have the desire, you're not driven by money, you're not driven by the same things that society has constructed. You're driven then by, which would be the answer to society, for love. You automatically, when you're hydrated, so if you do breath work, you hydrate yourself. If you drink lower density foods, or you clean your body out, you're hydrated. You drop into your heart, you drop into a lower, higher frequency, and then automatically you see the oneness of everyone else. You just want to help everyone else. But when you're in a parasitic consciousness, when you're dehydrated, a whole biological systems have been hijacked. So I mean, the majority of the world has no fucking idea. So that's kind of where I'm at on the theory of it. That resonates with you, I'm sure it does.
Yeah, completely, Henry. Like, I feel that most people don't know how it feels like to just not eat as much and fast and to be less dense. And because they've never had the reference experience of it, and by the way, I mean, even just a reference experience of, even if they didn't do that and took psychedelics or did something crazy that would give them the realities of life, give them a glimpse into another lifestyle, another vibration inside their body and how they feel. Because they never get that glimpse, they never take the chance, and they don't really understand what it feels like. You can tell people, oh, mate, you're going to feel amazing if you fast, you change up your diet and all this stuff, but until they actually get the references, they'll never know. And of course, the problem is, how do you get them to do it in the first place? Most people ain't going to drop a psychedelics. Most people ain't going to fast for a day. Most people ain't going to switch up their diet because it takes too much work. It's too much hard work for people to change. And it was for us, by the way. Oh my God, like, it's hard to change, man. So I get why they don't do it. But, by the way, another thing I thought too is the parasite thing. I think that's very real, because I get hungry and tempted to eat when I shouldn't sometimes, and I feel it in my tummy, this weird, odd sensation, like, it feels horrible, bro. And I think that's the parasites. You know, I often feel like there's a level. We all have them a little bit, and some people have them loads. And if you have them loads, you're going to be dictated by them. They're going to rule your life.
Absolutely. Yeah, man. Yeah, 100%. Like, we all have them. Like, I think even Chris Manley spoke, and even when he did 2 years and used urine therapy to bridge a gap from a shitarian diet, his words, to breatharian, like, when he did his last dry fast, like, he chugged some aged, and even then there was like some parasites still coming out. So to some extent, we all have them. It's like we were Well, there's so many interesting ideas about that, because then that brought me to like, so if you think of the word sin just means error, right? And so, and then you go back to the biblical story of Adam and Eve, and you go back to like, that is kind of a depiction of man's descent into sin, into error. And what was that? He ate an apple.
Yeah.
He ate, and then instantly, then you feed the parasites, and then you descend into the lower realms, where you are then, to some extent, it's all a spectrum, and you can all feel it, but to some extent, you are now controlled by parasites. You know, you continuously have that.
Henry, quickly, I'm thinking out loud with the there's many analogies and theories on the Adam and the apple, but one of them that I resonate with from what you're saying too is, hey, listen, we was probably breatharian, then we ate a fruit, which is really good food, but ultimately it's not breath, and then we fucked ourselves up, and there was a descent into food, eating food from nothing, from breath. Maybe that's a descent, man. Maybe that's the actual thing.
That's exactly, that's exactly what I mean, literally. Like our purest state, and in the theory, the baseline theory of man's higher consciousness, and the baseline theory of breatharianism is that you don't need anything. Like you don't need food, the nutritional myth. Food does not go into our cells. Food does not make us grow. So anything you eat, you merge with. So you eat an apple. Obviously, an apple is less. So you're merging with that. So you're then giving something away, which is fine, and we're allowed to enjoy it. But people think that consumption and eating something is actually gaining. But it's the opposite. Yeah. You're actually merging, and then you're becoming less. So when our greatest possible form, where we are immortal, because our cells are immortal by design. I mean, I'm just going through the theory of the book. Well, and also there's a ton of other science out there that's obviously repressed. But cells grow by division. And then in a cell, it's atoms and it's electrons. They don't eat. So the way for us to grow, the way for us to be immortal, the way for us to know our powers beyond what we could even imagine is not eating anything, really. Yeah. And that's where, like, and I feel like people come and say, but why can't I eat? Why can't I just feel that pleasure? But like, and those people wouldn't necessarily know until you've really experienced the states of like being fasted. And even I don't, because I haven't done fast for that long yet. But when you really experience that state of like superpower, godlike being from not eating, and then eventually when we get to a threshold of enough people experiencing that, then potentially we start to move back up towards breatharianism again. But you've got to experience it. You know, you've got to experience it to know it. Like you can tell people and people can try it and they might resonate because it's maybe in their past lives, say they had these experiences or just something in their heart tells them that. But it's very hard for people because it's just really difficult to understand it unless you are it. I read something in the Yoga Sutras, like to know God, you must become God. To know a snake, you must become a snake. To know a saint, you must become a saint. So you've got to really go through these experiences of just not eating to understand why it's so great to not eat, you know? Yeah,
that's so true. That's so powerful what you're saying. I think another thing I like in that book a lot, the Man's High Consciousness, he says that to experience fasting, when you receive more energy from once you're set, I don't know, 17, 20 hours into a water fast or whatever, I'm not going to name numbers or anything generally, but just when you've experienced the powerful energy of not fasting is the key moment in your life when you start questioning whether food actually gives you energy. Because if you experience that you have more when you empty, that will open up your mind to the possibility that we've been lied to about food giving us energy, which you touched bases with perfectly at the beginning, man. Like you need these experiences to see that food doesn't give you energy. What it does do, I feel, and I'll speak from my own experience here, it stimulates you. Even fruits, they, especially bad stuff, but good stuff too, they stimulate you and give you this fake sense of power, but I don't think it's real. I think it's fake. I don't think it's real energy, man, because the fasting energy feels more pure than the fake energy from just after you've eaten an apple, after you've eaten sweets, you just feel amazing. Whatever it is, you feel like, oh, what's going on here? But it's not real, man. I don't think it's real.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. And like a good way to note that is even like just noticing how present you are. Because like you can feel like low energy when you're not eating for a while because of like, which people often don't understand. Because what's happening is you're detoxing, and then all the toxins are now coming out of your body. So you've got to go through that phase. But people think, oh, I have low energy, I need to eat. But that's not what's happening. It's just a detox that you need to go through, and that cleansing of your cells is going to make you feel shit. But you notice, and even if you just don't eat all day, like I've done it, and I'm sitting in like the community spot here in Ubud, and I don't eat all day, and I'm sitting here and I'm talking to people and I'm having conversations, and I was watching 8 hours have gone by, and I'll notice that my presence is on point. It's that presence where you can really measure it. And then you have the juice, and maybe you'll feel like some kind of activation if that's programming you, but then you'll notice if like how present you are.
Yeah.
If that is something that you've really experienced anyway, because a lot of people haven't necessarily experienced that much presence. But yeah, that's a good measure. Like, and how you feel afterwards. You know, like how much energy do you have afterwards? Like during that, you're going to feel like a spark of a stimulation, and I feel like what's happening is the parasites are stopping from eating you, and then getting food to eat. Maybe that could be what's happening. And so like you're getting a little break from being eaten, and that might be what's kind of activating for you. But yeah, it's
insane. Hey, get this. So you touch bases too with the fact that people feel worse sometimes when they're fasting, and that's because, and I think you're right, I think we're right on this, that literally the toxins need to come out of the body and they need to enter the bloodstream. So when people are so toxified up and they do a little bit of fasting, they start experiencing unpleasant emotions they're not used to, like it feels horrible, hangry, whatever it is, and then they'll blame it and say, okay, now I'm going to eat. And as soon as they eat, what they do is they switch off the toxins coming out and they feel better. And then they make the association, oh, I tried fasting. Henri told me about fasting. I tried it. I felt shit. I ate an apple, ate some food again. I felt great. And so they make the wrong associations, not based on actual science and fact. And therefore they never do it again. And that's how we lose many people in the community through not a lack of basic understanding that you need to go through some shit. Like me and you, like, man, when I did my first dry fast, for like 16 hours, I got a headache, man, like real bad, like really bad migraine. Like now it's easy to do, but at the beginning, man, even me and you, like, do you remember these detox? Do you remember going through detoxification with fasting? Because I remember it, man. Even with urine, I got detoxification.
Yeah. Today, I mean, I'm very slowly moving into another Urine fast, but today I've been like on less and less fruit. Like yesterday, I just had a watermelon, and now I just had some strawberries, some kind of out of it, but like, you feel it. It's still there. Like that process is still there. And the deeper you go, like the thing is, it takes a while. Like you can't really just do I mean, I don't know how long you fasted or what your experience is, but like I know that from Chris Manley, for example, he did like 2 years to feel where he was like. I mean, it took him 2 months to start of just straight Urine to feel like he had more energy than he's ever had. So maybe that's a good milestone for anyone watching to get to. But like most people stop before 2 months of just water or, well, just Urine. I mean, water would be more difficult because you're not then replacing everything and you're not dredging everything out, and it depends what water you're drinking. But it just takes a long time to really cleanse it all out. So, and that's why people often just sooner. I mean, have you done some really...
Have I done some long fasts? Is that what you said?
Yeah, some really long fasts. Like, what's your experience?
In the past, in the past, I want to get back into it. I'm going through a different phase in my life right now. But in the past, 2 years ago, I did a dry fast, 7.5 days hard dry fast. I must emphasize the hard because people think that, like, if it's not a hard one, I feel like you could absorb water in the system through showering and rain. So I always try and, when I was in that phase of my life, I was always doing it a bit more hardcore. So yeah, I've done that. That was intense. I could have gone longer, bro, but I didn't. I wish, I regret. Oh man, I was with friends and they gave up, and I didn't want to feel alienated from them. So I felt like I had to break that fast, which looking back of it is a regret. But do you know what, bro, though? I haven't done many long water fasts. I haven't even done a long urine fast. These are things that I really want to get around to at some point. and soon too, because they, I believe, I'm inspired by Chris Manley too. I've heard that Chris Manley has done 5 months with just urine only, and a couple of nuts. I think he said was the only food he.
No,
2 years.
2 years. He did 2 years of 99% only urine, and then he dry fasted. So I mean, first of all, 7.5 days of hard dry fasting. Wow, dude, that's really amazing. It's really impressive. But what my understanding from Chris, because I'm on his fasting group, and like what he has a Telegram group for fasting. He just gives a lot of support there, which is just nice to be in touch with him. But he continuously says like to liquid fast with urine or distilled water, but I mean urine, to dredge out the sediment first before doing a dry fast. I mean, honestly, if I didn't know your experience, I would never recommend someone going into from what I've heard, not my direct experience, only what I've heard from Chris, to do a 7.5 day dry fast without doing like, I mean, 2 to 3 months of like a long distilled water or oil fast to dredge out that sediment. My understanding would just feel like pretty horrendous. But I mean, I guess you did.
Well, no, I didn't do that. I was on the aged urine prolifically for many months and years before that. Every day, man. It was just incessant aged urine cleansing, constant aged urine. So, and also semen retention. Right. I think I've talked to Shazil on it about this. If you're a guy and you don't, this is a hack for everyone watching and wants to experience longer fasts. If you don't do semen retention, you're going to struggle.
Right.
Get on semen retention because that's the power of the human body. You can go a lot longer and fast if you're on a deep. So that's a tip for you too, bro. Like if you get on a spike, like say you're 20, 30, 40 days of semen retention, go for it then, as opposed to like you had a wet dream, say, and you lost it and then you did it the next day. So that's a good hack too.
Yeah, 100%. No, I mean, I probably ejaculated maybe, I had some little spills. Maybe twice in the last year-ish. Like now it's with a lot of breath work and holding, it's quite easy for me to, like after a year of really doing like airbenders breath work where and you're like squeezing on each one and like my perineum became really strong. So now it's actually pretty good for me. But yeah, it's when you fast, you realize that any form of energy loss, you know, anywhere you're losing energy, you're losing chi. And yeah, like I just watched one of your videos on it. It's like if you're creating sperm because you're losing sperm, then you're not creating testosterone. You can create one or the other, you know? So yeah. I mean, 100%. But so when you did 7.5 days dry, like you felt wasn't horrendous?
No, I felt amazing. Now here's the thing though. I didn't feel. I tried about day 4 or 5 doing exercise, even just push-ups, mate. Only like 10, 20 push-ups. I did that as an experiment, and I tell you what, I felt awful after I'd done those 20 push-ups, and I wish I'd never done it. It felt awful for many hours afterwards. I was like, what I felt like for me at that stage of my journey, I would say that you've got to be careful when you're doing dry fasting for long periods of time, you're doing too much exercise, because I feel like it's a body resting, and maybe it comes back to what you said. I was actually kind of still toxic inside, so maybe I could do, people can do a lot of exercise when they're dry fasting, and my body was saying to me, no, Harry, you're already using up all your willpower and energy just with this long dry fast, so don't do anything crazy. But you know what I've noticed, Henry, with dry fasting? For me, it gets my mental clarity. What you talked about, the presence, when you're with people, I get that from dry fasting intermittently, daily, for like say I do the 1 meal a day and I dry fast the rest of the day. I get my presence, my brain sharpness from dry fasting is just, that's what I think got me addicted to fasting. My presence, my happiness. I felt amazing doing it, because I've heard about juice, I heard about water, then I heard about dry, and I was excited because someone did a post saying 3 days water is the same as 1 day dry, and I was like, oh, let me try that out. And I went 16, 18 hours dry, but then I was like, I felt different, I felt more energy, I felt more clear, I felt more sharp. And I think my addiction is my brain, how I feel in terms of my capacity for happiness and presence. So yeah, I love all the fasts, by the way. I don't think that there's one that's better than the other, really. They're all good, man. Like, I can't wait for the urine fast. That's going to be exciting. I mean, do you think that you can, I think currently now, by the way, that you can indefinitely fast on urine. I think Chris Manley's kind of proven it, but do you think that's true? Oh
yeah, 100%. I mean, I think if you, breath breatharianism is our highest form. So 100%. Like, and maybe if you're asking, like, would a normal person or coming from a normal diet can do that to basically where you don't need food. My direct experience is I'm going to find it out 100%. That's coming. But I believe it. I know Chris Manley. I've spoken to him many times on the phone. Like, I know him. I feel him. He's done it. I believe him.
Yeah.
Trying to avoid that word believe, but I can't really say it's truth unless it's my own direct experience. But yeah, 100%. No doubt. I think that's the quickest way. My understanding is the quickest way to go from eating a bunch of food in any capacity, whatever you're eating, to food addiction free, where you don't need food or water for like very, very long periods of time, like no food and maybe water every 10 days. I think that's what Chris Manley's doing. Or Urine every 10 days is with Urine, like, because I think Urine is just the fastest way to dredge you out, and you continuously biofeedback, continuous biofeedback. So whatever you need is coming out, and then it's going back. Like it's. I think it's just you're designed to regenerate yourself with your Urine. Like, I think that's it's clearly really our design of the way that we should be doing it. Anything else is, I don't know, I don't think word unnatural, but just seems like a slower form of it, you know? And then I would dry fast, because I feel like you need, but maybe not, like you have proof of it, like, and I guess you're producing your own water after 7.5 days, obviously. But like, I just feel like you need a large amount of negatively charged liquid, like Urine or distilled water or fruit juice, going in that order of being the best, in my opinion, to clear the sediment that we have from the fucking cowpole that we were eating when we were 7 years old, you know, from the joints that we had when we were 13. That's in there. Like, I tasted THC in my tongue last night, and I haven't smoked weed in like over a year. But actually, I had a tiny bit, but whatever. It's quite a while, and that just starts coming out, like the stuff we have in there. And I feel like you just need that liquid to dredge it out, but maybe not. Maybe you can just dry fast it too.
No, I feel like I resonate with what you're saying, because I've done a lot of dry fasting, and what I've noticed with dry fasting is it never really removed the sludge from my toxicity due to childhood and all the wrong shit I've been eating. It never really did, but liquids often do. And like you said, the levels are correct too, I feel. Like you said, fruits, then urine, fresh, and then aged urine is uber super structured water, so that really dredges the shit out of everything inside you, man. That's very true. Yeah, it's powerful. It really is.
What were your aged urine protocols that you were doing like a couple of years ago? Or what are your aged urine protocols that you're doing now?
Yeah, man, I've gone, now I've stepped away from it, like a lot of hardcore. I still maintain a good balance of like a little bit every day, but before I was doing aged urine up the bum, I was doing drinking about 250 mils every single day of old, that's the key with this, right? It's the older it is, we know that the more powerful it is. So I was drinking it, I was massaging onto skin. I was doing a lot of hardcore stuff with the aged urine to drudge and to give me the energy, because I was addicted to the energy, the true energy of the negative ion charge of the aged, and I was doing it all, man. I could see the results in my face, I could see results in my energy, I could see the results in my coming out of the toilet, in the parasites and all that stuff. So yeah, I was going hell for leather, man, and I certainly not stepped away from it unconsciously. It was kind of deliberate decision, so I could focus on, like I'm doing now, music, psychedelics and all the other stuff, because I just like life, man, and I respect the aged. Always respect the aged, but then you have to understand too, depending on situations, like if you have parents that disapprove of these things, we've got to work around, and it smells and all these issues, we've got to work around people, because it does smell, man, at the end of the day, you know, it can offend people. I've been in many situations with people with that smell, man.
That's a good point. And like, you can't just live your truth and just blatantly speak your truth. Whatever comes up, you kind of have to respect the environment around you and be aware of that, because your reality is probably quite different to mine in that, like, when I really started doing all this, I mean, I'm living in a conscious community right now. I'm living with my partner who's fully on board all of this. So I've got literally underneath me, I've just got my age stuff just sitting there. This way I can just come out in the sun every day. And there's no issue of any of that. So, but if you're living with family or whatever, or in England, or just with more people that not so receptive to this, or also the smells kind of might be an issue, then I can imagine it's more tricky. How come you can't get out?
I can. So I'm in Portugal last year. I mean, I was living 5 months in the off-grid, and that was just an aged urine all the place, man. And, you know, actually there's ways around what I've just said. I said you one thing, but there's ways around the smell. Like, you can do it at night time, the Asian massaging, absolutely great hack. Next morning, I do that all the time. And so does some people watching this. You do it at night time, and it doesn't smell in the morning. At the moment, currently, I'll be honest, I'm collecting a lot. So I've just got loads of plastic glass bottles, and I'm peeing in them, and I'm getting a lot of system. I'm getting a system finally going back again. So what happened was last year I didn't have my system going, and now I'm just peeing, and I've got quite a few bottles hidden away around the house. That's a tactic. Hide them away. Don't worry about them. Don't think about them. Just pee in a jar, close the lid, and it ages still. Yeah, so at the moment I'm collecting, and I'm going to wait, and 1-2 months I'm going to have a system going again, because I've always wanted that system for my own health, but I just didn't have it last year. It was like a lack of focus on my part, and you forget sometimes the power of things that you preach and have done before. I forgot how good it felt to be on so much of the aged or evolved urine. It's amazing, and it's free too, man. Holy shit, it's free medicine. It's fucking amazing.
What do you mean by system? What do you mean by system?
Oh, I mean,
like you had a system.
Yeah, I was doing everything. I was doing everything for the book as well. Especially when my first book came out, like I was on every single protocol. And I remember I saw posts on my Facebook memories recently. I was like feeling so good. I was like doing up the bum, up the nose, drinking. I think I was doing 4 in a day, 4 different ways of taking aged urine in at some point daily for many months. And I was like, whoa, you can imagine what that does to you. Yeah, that one, bro. Yeah, up the nose for this. Skin to get into the bloodstream and to purify this area, the bum for the colon and the liver, and the drinking for the whole blood network system. Like, it's just so powerful. Medicine, man, it's transformational. It fucking is.
Yeah, man. I think it's also like what came to me just now when you were saying that is the way you've been inspiration to me, and I'm feeling your inspiration now, is like how much content you're putting out on this. So you've gone through like really immersing yourself in the practice, really living the experience, and now you're just like, I see you're just smashing out content nonstop and really speaking your truth on this, and that's really inspiring for me, because I also see, like, and I mean this in the best possible way, like you're just not worried about like necessarily like producing a perfect video, but like your content is gold. Like your content is just what you're talking about is really beautiful, and you're just. And that's allowing you just to produce so much content. So I really feel like the universe has put you, and you've come to me for me to be inspired by you in that way, for me to just be like, just start fucking talking. And I feel like this video is a really good opportunity for me to like open the egg door to just start talking. Like in the community, it's really easy for me here actually, because it's a very conscious community. Everyone does yoga, everyone does meditates. It's ecstatic dance. So I can talk about pouring like really easily. But I've had some like resistance speaking it on social media for whatever reason. But I'm going to post this video, so I don't watch it.
Yeah, that's good, man. And you know, it's like, I mean, if you was back home, you're from the UK, right? You was back home, I'm sure you get way more resistance from the people around you, and I do, and I don't even bother speaking about it to people around here because, geez, man, my community's where you guys are at. Like, this is why I want that lifestyle. I crave to be. You got to crave, and I think it's amazing that you've done that, man. You've put yourself in a position now where you're surrounded by the right people, and then your journey really begins. You can do a lot in the wrong place, don't get me wrong, but the real journey starts when you start getting yourself in the right place. Because now what you're doing is you're probably waking up every day, I imagine, and having conversations about things you want to talk about with people that you love and learn from, and everyone just helps each other, man. You're like, I can imagine you'll be like, oh, I didn't think of that, and then you talk to your friend, he gives you an idea, and you're like, oh yeah, that's an interesting perspective, and it helps you. That's the kind of shit, the lifestyle that I'm happy to promote for me, and you're living it, man. You're in it. When you're in it, the magic happens. You've got to put yourself in a situation, surround yourself with the right people, and that's the real growth.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I feel really blessed to be in this. I feel like I called this in for a long time to be living in a community like this, and it's really amazing how that's happened. But then I want to shout out to you of your ability, because there's a funny thing that whenever I talk to my mom specifically about the evolution that I'm going through, and in various ways, she's always like, yeah, but do you think if you were in England you could do that? And she's always asking because she wants to have an excuse for a reason why she can't make any changes, because in England it's so difficult. But then you're in England in the middle of it, and I think maybe even in your parents' house, which is incredibly challenging.
Yeah.
And you are living that truth, and you're speaking it out, like just out into the ether, like into everyone. And like, that's really amazing. And like, people like you are necessary in that environment too. Like, I hope, and when you're ready and when that time for you to come into a community like this, that will happen for you, I'm sure. But I'm sure that right now you're exactly where you're supposed to be, and you've like really doing a really great job at like doing that, you know.
Thanks, man. I feel like everyone's exactly where they're meant to be. Everything is perfect. But here's I don't know if you agree with this opinion. I feel like some people we use other people's wrongness, right, to discern for us. So I feel like some people in our community want to run away from their problems too quickly without having earned the badges, the stripes of being in the matrix of the UK, America. So they want to run away thinking that's going to fix their problems. But what I feel is you need to earn your stripes, badges, warrior status. You need to learn everything you need to learn in the shit, surrounded by being a black sheep, surrounded by the white sheep. You need to earn your badges here before you consider going away. And I think that's where some people go wrong. They want to run away because they think it's going to fix them. They come to you, but having not done the work, bro, that's not going to help. So I feel like there's a time and place to be in the matrix, and that's at the beginning of your journey. You've got to earn your status. You've got to earn the warrior. If you can survive doing this here in the wrong place environment, and you can really be happy here, then by all means, you're ready now to go out into where you're at, and now you can take your growth to the next level. But don't run away from your problems. This is a huge thing I see all the time. People think that it's going to be fixed by running away. No, you've got to be in the matrix. You've got to deal with your parents. You've got to deal with family. You've got to deal with the bloods. If you can't deal with your blood family, man, you're not going to cut it where you're at. You've got to deal with that shit.
Yeah. I totally agree. Like, I think there's two ways, but obviously running away, and always like in a spiritual community, especially, like, we're always chasing the bliss, chasing the beautiful life, but you can't really have any growth unless you go through and put yourself through and move through any obstacles. So in your position, you've put yourself in an environment that's really difficult. And so in so many ways, like, you can be so grateful for that, because you're going to grow so many ways in so many different skills in that skill set. And you put yourself really in the deep end for that skill set to go. Then I'm here, and it's given me a different container for me to drop in deeper into the immersion of it and whatever. So I can also train myself in a different way for me to then just go into the matrix from the other way. But the point is, what you're saying is 100% is not running away from the painful process, not trying to make life so easy. Like, that's not the whole point. Like, and being grateful for when life is really good, but then also being grateful for when, like, shit happens, or you go for a challenging thing and you're like, sweet, I'm going to stand here and I'm going to move through this, and I'm going to come out much stronger as I move through it. And there was that really, I forgot, there's it's that great writer that said, like, if as soon as you think like you have a spiritual awakening, go back and see your parents. You know, like, many people go away and they have this big awakening. Who's that guy? You know the guy?
Rumi, isn't it Rumi? Rumi, isn't it?
Yeah, Rumi. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's like, if you think you're awakened, go and spend one day or one with your family. That's so funny.
That's real. Yeah, man. Yeah, I mean, I had a challenging situation with my mom the other day. We talk about every week, and she said she got vaccinated. And
oh no,
like,
mine too, by the way. Yeah.
I was like, you know, everyone can do what they want to do, but like, I'm going to tell you the truth, and obviously, like, it's stupid. And I thought I was kind of cool with it, but then I just got I got real angry. I was like, Mom, I'm gonna talk to her, because, like, this is something that I now got to move through, and like whatever, like it was just, it's hard to
I got that too, man. My
things.
mum and dad. My mum's got it and my dad's, they both had it. And even, here's the funny thing with the vaccine, even if you think there's no symptoms showing up and they'll say, I didn't get a headache, I didn't get all that stuff. We both know that the poisons entering the body don't always show up straight away. Like sometimes people can, the body hides the toxins basically until it reaches a point where it manifests in symptoms. So every single person, in my opinion, that gets these vaccines is having some kind of physical health damage from them. Just because you don't get headache or any symptoms, that doesn't mean that it's not damaging you. So this is hard. Do you know, I think the biggest struggle with this COVID thing is actually, it's not even us, bro. Like what we're going through, it's literally the fact that I'm worrying that everyone's going to get this done, this damage, which has an agenda, and it's lowering the frequency of everyone that gets it done, whilst they love it. So not only, okay, that's bad enough, everyone's getting destroyed physically, but at the same time, they're willingly doing it and thinking it's great for them, which is the complete opposite of the truth. And that's frustrating, because we're light workers and truth seekers. We know the truth, and they're in denial of the truth. And it's really hard to see your friends and family get this done, man. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck are they thinking?
Yeah, that's a big challenge in itself, you know, like, not being attached to being able to control anyone else's reality, you know? Like, because we go through these awakenings, we get these understandings, we have these experiences where we become really happy and we increase our health and stuff, and then we want to share it, and then we're like when I went vegan, and I told my mom, like, stop drinking milk because of, like, what happened to the cows, and she's like, yeah, it's terrible, but then you just have to be unattached to them ever changing, because she'd be like, yeah, it's terrible, but then she still drink milk. And she might never change. And at the end of the day, it's your mom. So what are you going to do? Like, most of the time, the most likely reality is that she just doesn't listen to what I've said. I keep pushing her on and being attached to the outcome and pushing her and coming with that energy of you've got to change, then all it's going to do is create friction in that relationship. So that even for a chance of any change to happen, you've got to detach yourself from that and allow yourself to just allow everyone to be like this, like just give people a lot of space, you know, everyone just kind of trying to avoid their own pain, and like people are just on different paths. Maybe in the next life or the next 5 lives, I suppose. Like, I think everyone has their place. Like, there's a parasitic government for a reason. There's people suffering or doing this thing for a reason, so that the opposite can also happen. Like, there's a parasitic government so we can grow and evolve in ourselves, because the ultimate aim for everything is our own soul evolution. So if we're going to be attached to anything, then be attached to that, rather than like trying to put our ideology on someone else and saying, hey, you know, don't do that. Like, if you want to literally commit suicide by taking what you're taking, okay, I love you anyway.
Rock on.
That's the only. That's all you can do. Like, that's the biggest growth.
Isn't it kind of comforting, Henry, to know the truth that first of all, that there's many lives, that we are infinite, and by the way, some people think this is, I feel sorry for people that think that this is all there is to life, because that's clearly not reality. But it's very comforting for us to know we can really focus on the fact that, hey, if they get this wrong, our friends and family and people we love in this lifetime, then they can come back here and do it again, and until they learn their lesson, they can keep evolving. It's actually really comforting for me. I know that they're going to keep coming back here and trying their best. And you know, you touch base with so many things, man. Once you talk about attachment, I think one of the struggles in life is that we are all attached, even to our own lives. Forget about other people's lives. We get attached to seeing them a certain way, trying to control them, trying to not allow them to do their own progress and their own journey, and because we know what we know. And I think that attachment holds us back, bro. That's the lesson we come here to Earth School to learn, to detach from this thing that we think is all it is, because we know that we can know logically that there's more to it, but emotionally it's so hard to detach from the fact that we're going to die and this is going to end in our life, because I don't know, man, it's interesting to think about. You made me think about that stuff, man. Attachment it holds us back. It really does.
Yeah, it's something that just came through when we said that. Now, like, the way to, I feel, for me to liberate that is to do it in devotion, in a way, to do it for God or for a greater reasoning for whatever you're doing, and then just know that everything that happens is divine or is perfect. you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, that's also why meditation is so beautiful, because it's the mind that's always continuously reaching out. And then when you just slow that into a single point, then you really, then you see that there's nothing else there that could ever add to you being in that stillness, you know?
Yeah. It's true.
Yeah, I mean, attachment, it's the game. Like, we came in here with our horoscopes and our programming and our mammalian mind, and all this stimuli, or this virtual reality illusion. I mean, the nature of the universe is holographic, as a training program for us to advance the other part of our brain or soul, or whatever, you know. So yeah, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. By the way, so the 1 hour limit will come up soon. I want to give you the opportunity to say any last words,
great.
and also to, for your channels and stuff. Like, just let us know that stuff, man. Like, do you promote yourself on Instagram? How can people learn from you?
You can follow me on Instagram. I am Henri Hines. I'll put a comment underneath, I guess, but
if you even click the top,
I feel
there's a top thing.
Start making more content on this now. I feel I'm inspired to just using my voice. I've been very much on my own inward journey and staying to the community and doing what I need to do for my own growth now. And so, but if anyone wants to follow me and anyone resonates with what I'm saying, then sweet, let's create a tribe and create a community, and I'll continue to speak at what's true for me, and let's connect and interact and continue to build this community and this tribe and this movement and this consciousness in person, and using these devices or using these platforms as a way to connect consciousness with that has similar resonance, continue to make these connections. And I really appreciate what you're doing, reaching out to so many people that just have a spark of resonance with you, for us to just expand and grow. So yeah, that's my self-promoting.
Thanks, man. Thanks, Henri. Thanks, Henri, for joining me, man. Your knowledge and your story is fucking fabulous, man. We didn't even touch bases fully with your story. We'll have to do this again. But I understand. I've got an understanding now of the depth of what you know in terms of all the things and your mastery, man. It's fucking fabulous what you're doing. Like, you're living the life. You've been through so much. It's all happened for a reason for you. And I really appreciate you jumping on, by the way, and doing this. I don't know if you've done many. I'm guessing not. So that was fucking amazing, man.
No. I haven't been active, in social media. So, yeah, this was the time, and this was a time it was meant to start. So I really appreciate you too for making this connection, and I'm sure that we'll talk again soon.
And lastly, before we go, I will come when I come up to Ubed. I do know what Ubed is, by the way. So yeah, it's where all the cool people hang out. So I'm obviously going to travel, man, a lot in the future. Always got in my mind next year in America, Hawaii. But when I come up there, I'd love to meet you and to learn, man, and just to hang out and chill.
Man.
Maybe by that
100%.
We'll be we'll be Breatharians by that point, I think.
We'll be close. But yeah, man, if you need some help with that, let me know, because I can.
Yeah, I will message you, man, definitely. Yeah. All right, then. Cheers, Henri. Cheers, everyone, for watching. Really appreciate everyone. So thanks, and have a lovely day. Bye.
Peace.
Take it easy.